second. Let me now introduce you to the Utopia environment, the fellowship program, and how to apply to our second call. So as an introduction to this webinar, I would like to provide you with a short overview of EUTOPIA-SIF program key features. EUTOPIA-SIF is an international postdoctoral fellowship program offering outstanding opportunities for talented young researchers to develop their research skills, expand their career prospects, explore new research horizons, and tackle the main scientific and societal challenges of our time. The program is hosted by the 6th initial partner of EUTOPIA European University Alliance and funded by the H2020 Marie Curie Action for 5 years and 4 calls. Within the 5 years duration of the project, EUTOPIA-SIF will recruit 76 fellows in order to constitute a pan-European cohort of promising young researchers. So now I will briefly introduce you to EUTOPIA Alliance. We were initially 6 like-minded European universities: the Vrije Université de Brussels, CY Cergy Paris Université, the University of Gothenburg, the University of Ljubljana, University of Pompeu Fabra Barcelona, and University of Warwick. We were selected by the European Commission among the 17 first Erasmus Plus European Universities Alliances in 2019. And recently, the Alliance welcomed 4 new partners: Ca' Foscari University of Venice, Nova University Lisbon, the Technische University Dresden, and University of Babeș-Bolyai. The aim of our alliance is to create a connected and inclusive academic community addressing global and local challenges, promoting academic excellence and inclusion, and give an active contribution to European economic development through innovation and research. Concerning our EUTOPIA-SIF program, as it is an H2020 project co-funded by only the 6 primary universities, the 4 new partners cannot be involved as host or co-host to our calls. So we already answered this question. You cannot choose any of the 4 new partners as host or co-host for this call. The core objective of the EUTOPIA-SIF program is to help young researchers to develop ambitious research projects. The program focuses on 5 key research areas that are central to understanding and shaping the future of our planet. From material engineering, data and intelligence, health, sustainability, and welfare and inclusion, a broad spectrum of disciplines are welcome, from fundamental to experimental science, including social sciences and humanities. The program encourages interdisciplinarity and is open to researchers from all academic fields in connection with these research areas. I will now briefly highlight the benefits the EUTOPIA-SIF program can bring. The first point to emphasize is that this project is related to a very large and growing community with location in all Europe. Fellows will be jointly hosted and supervised by 2 research groups of the 6 initial universities of Utopia Alliance and spend up to 6 months in the co-host research group. They will undertake a secondment with the international and/or non-academic partners of the program or another institution of their choice. In this secondment, you may choose, if you want, one of the new partners. And last but not least, we will offer a dedicated training and activity program focusing on transversal skills, impact and innovation awareness, and interdisciplinary exchange. So join us as a EUTOPIA-SIF postdoctoral fellow, and to help you achieve that, you are numerous today, I will now explain you how to apply on the second call and how your application will be evaluated. So our second call is now open from 20 September and the deadline is on January 10th. Who can apply and how? Applications are welcome from recognized researchers, PhD holders or equivalents of any nationality and from all disciplines, including social science and humanities and arts. Candidates are expected to propose an ambitious research project to be carried out at one of the Utopia universities and co-hosted by a second Utopia university for secondment. Candidates must indicate at least 1 and up to 3 pairs of host and co-host university in their application. Be careful to comply with the Marie Curie mobility rule. This is very important. The researcher must not have resided or carried out their main activity in the country of the selected primary host for more than 12 months in the 3 years prior to the date of appointment as an EUTOPIA-SIF fellow. The date of appointment is 1st September 2022. So you have to check from 1st September 2019 to 31 August 2022. EUTOPIA-SIF fellow will be offered a 24-month employment contract as Marie Curie fellow at one of the 6 Utopia universities, with a monthly average gross salary of around 4,000 euros, depending on the country. You can find the details in the guide for applicants. A supplementary budget for research and travel expenses. You've got also full academic freedom, but be careful, you have to perform your project in a research group. So your academic freedom has also to comply with their academic freedom. So be very careful and try to discuss with the research group you want to target. We will offer attractive living conditions and high quality of life in the local environments of Utopia University and provide support for mobility. We introduce this year an optional pre-application stage. This stage is now finished, and the information of the candidates willing to participate in this round have been sent to disciplinary related research group of the 6 partners. Be aware that pre-application does not ensure pairing with the hosting's choice. The coordination may not intervene anymore for this matching phase. So from now, you may contact directly a research group for hosting your fellowship if you still don't have any answer or any contact. I would like to focus now on the research group eligible for hosting and co-hosting the fellows. It is always highly recommended, of course, to contact all the targeted research group as well as potential academic supervisor before submitting the application. This year, you will need at least to contact your first choice to ask for a support letter. This is very important. The list of the research group is available on the EUTOPIA-SIF website. And I would also like to highlight that for VUB in Brussels, only 11 research groups are eligible as hosts, and that there is no restriction for co-hosting. But for host, you have really to choose between these 11 groups. If there is any question, you have to contact the local program manager. Finally, remember the capacity constraint. We have this year 21 positions available. So 7 in CY, 5 in Warwick, 4 in VUB, 2 for University of Ljubljana and 2 for University of Pompeu Fabra, and 1 for Göteborg University. So the application must contain an ambitious research proposal using the template, which is mandatory, including your ethic declaration, a choice of at least one EUTOPIA-SIF key research area, choice of your prospective host and co-host university. And to be eligible, you will need to provide at least one support letter of a chosen host research group to prove endorsement and feasibility. You have to check in the guide for applicants for the details, especially who is entitled to sign the letter. This is very important. Be very careful to contact and have the letter signed by the right person. If you have any doubt, please contact the local program manager. You've got the list also in the guide for applicant and on the website. For your CV, you will have to fill the online information and upload a maximum 4 pages CV using the template available on the application platform. You will add a personal statement of maximum 2 pages, it's free. And you will have to request 2 reference letters. The letters must be uploaded by 20 January 2022 by the referees. Finally, you have to upload your PhD certificate plus a translation if it's not in English, or proof of 4 years of equivalent research experience using the template available also on the platform. A checklist is available at the end of the guide for applicant and on the platform. Please use it to check out if you did not forget anything. After the deadline, your application will be evaluated on the following criteria: the scientific and technical quality of the project, its excellence, feasibility and suitability, the impact and dissemination plan, and the experience and leadership of the candidates. We will also evaluate the added value of the fellowship for the career development of the candidate. And each application will be reviewed by three experts. There is an indicative timeline. I insist on indicative. The dates may slightly change and only the deadline will not. It's still on 10 January 2022 and the platform will close at this date. The eligibility check should be done by the end of January. As you referee will have until 20 January midnight to upload their letters and will be followed by the feedback of the host research group if they did not provide already a support letter. From February to end of March, your proposal will be assessed by remote peer reviews, and we will invite a short list of candidates for interviews occurring at the end of April. From May to July, the future fellows will be notified and the contract offered. The fellows may start the fellowship on 1st September 2022. So you will find all information on our website and application platform. Please read very carefully the guide for applicants. A lot of answers are already in, and use also the FAQ on the website. In case of any doubt, again, you can contact the local program manager for specific questions regarding one partner university, or you can also contact the coordination. So I will now let the floor to Rafaela for the presentation of the platform.
Thank you, Sylvie. I will now show you briefly how to create an account and how to fill in your application on the application platform. So this is the land page of the application platform. As you can see on the top right, you have a button for login and a button for register in case you don't have an account. So you can click on register, fill in the form, and click on create account. You will then receive an email to your address. You have to click on the message in order to confirm your registration. And then you can be redirected again to the site where your account is created. You can view the programs again, and you can select the program to which you intend to apply, in this case, the EUTOPIA-SIF program. And then by clicking on apply, your application will be created. This is the land page of your application. As you can see on the top, you have your application ID. Then you have the list of application tasks. And then on the left, a column with the reminder of application deadline and the button for submission. In order to submit, you will have to fill in all the tasks. So let's see how to fill in the forms. So you click on the form. The first form is to read, understand, and accept the regulation on data protection. So you tick on the box and you click on mark as complete. This will complete your form. As you can see, the circle is green and is ticked, which means that the form is completed. And at the end, of the application, all of your forms will look like this when they are completed. So then, in the personal information form, you will have to fill in the form with your information. Please fill in all the sections, because if mandatory fields are not filled in, you cannot submit the form. And then you click on mark as complete, and you can proceed on filling in the form. After this, you have the third section, which is the section on your academic and professional experience. So first of all, you have to indicate what is the highest degree that you have achieved. If it is a PhD, you indicate the doctoral degree. If you do not have a doctoral degree yet, you indicate your highest degree. And then you are asked to provide information on your employment. Please be careful on the question asking whether your current position is a permanent position or not. You will need to acknowledge that if you have a permanent position, and in case you're appointed as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow, you will need to be in the position to sign a full-time 2-year contract as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow, and not to be working at the same time on a full-time position for another institution. So then the following section is for your research outputs. You can fill in up to 5 research outputs, so 1 per each text box. Please do not insert any abstract of your outputs, only the references. You will have also to submit your CV using the mandatory template. And please remember that If you do not use the mandatory template for the CV, your application will be disregarded as not eligible. You will also have to upload a personal statement for which no template is required and a maximum length of 2 pages. Then the research proposal. You have to write a title and an acronym for your project, and after this, an abstract of maximum 250 words. You have to select the key research area among the 5 EUTOPIA-SIF research areas, a discipline with a subdiscipline, and a mandatory selection of a secondary discipline. Since the EUTOPIA-SIF program is highly dedicated to the interdisciplinarity in research, we want to encourage our fellows to undertake interdisciplinary projects. Very important, you need to tick the box for the compliance of Marie Curie mobility rule, since it is, again, an eligibility requirement. After this, you will need to select your hosting options. So you can select, you have to select at least 1 and up to 3 hosting options. In each choice, the host and the co-host need to be different institutions, and that all the hosting options need to be different. So you select your hosting options, and you also have a text box to indicate a research group, in case a drop-down box to indicate the research group, and the text box to indicate the prospective supervisor, in case you already have it. After this, you have to upload your research proposal using the mandatory research template. If the mandatory research template is not used, your proposal will unfortunately be disregarded. And the last section is a non-mandatory form for the suggestion of external experts for the evaluation of your proposal. External experts meaning people with whom you have not worked with, so that have no conflict of interest, and that can serve as external evaluators for your proposal. Again, this is not mandatory, but if you can fill it in, you're highly welcome. Then, in the following section, you have to upload your PhD certificate or the proof of research experience. So in case you have your PhD at the date of 15 April 2022, you have to upload your PhD certificate in English. If your PhD certificate is not in English, you will need to upload a translation. It is not necessary for it to be an official translation. You can translate it yourself. But what is important is that you provide a translated version of your certificate. If you will complete your PhD until the 15th April 2022, and it is not completed yet, you can provide a provisional certificate issued by the academic institution that will provide you the degree and the highest diploma that you have at the moment achieved. If you do not plan to receive your doctoral degree at the date of 15 April 2022, but you have 4 years of equivalent full-time research experience, you will need to download the template and to upload the template proving that you have the equivalent research experience. So you will check the box that applies to your situation and upload either the PhD certificate, either the 4 years equivalent experience declaration. Then you can upload the support letters. Again, a support letter is a letter issued by the first hosting option that you have indicated in your application, and it is a mandatory requirement for the eligibility. And be careful, since each institution has specific regulations concerning who is the person entitled to sign a support letter. And this information is present in the application platform and in the guide for applicants. So here you can indicate whether you want to upload 1, 2, or 3 support letters. You upload the letter and you fill in the fields with the contact information of the person who signed the letter. After this, you have the form to request the letters of reference. The letters of reference need to be requested to a person who has worked with you and who has been in contact with you and who can recommend and describe your work and your attitude towards research. So you click on request a recommendation, you fill in the form with the information of the person which you would like to request a letter, and you send the request. The request will need to be sent before the application deadline, so before the submission of the application. After that, the recommenders will have until the 20th of January, so 10 days more after the application deadline, in order to submit the letters. If the reference letters are not submitted, the application will result ineligible, so please be careful and follow up with your request to your recommenders in order to be sure that they upload the letters that you have requested. At the end of all the application forms, you will find a checklist. So you will be able to revise and check if you have filled in all the forms and all the relevant information. So you can select all the boxes and mark as complete. And after that, you can submit your application by clicking on Submit. You will be able to modify your application after submission by clicking on the 3 points, the upper part of each form. What is important is that after each time after you modify the form, you click on Mark as Complete. Otherwise, your modification will not be saved. And please remember that the last version submitted on the platform will be considered for evaluation. So in case you modify your application after submission, we suggest you that you download the last version in order to be sure that all modifications have been recorded. So this is all the information you need for the application. And I will now open the Q&A session. I will answer a first question about the application procedure on the application platform. So the question asks whether it is possible when you mark a form as complete to go back afterward and change some of the information. The answer is yes, you can go back and change your information. What is necessary is that after that you mark as complete the form, and that if your application has already been submitted, you download the latest version to be sure that the modification has been recorded.
So I will perhaps answer one question regarding the mobility funding. Of course, the mobility funding is quite low for some expectations. We are asked if there are more sources of funding outside Utopia for complementing the funding offered by SIF. Yes, but you may go through the research group. You will be employed. And as you are not employed at this moment, it's compulsory that someone in the research group, a permanent position researcher, ask for this supplementary fundings. So you have to manage with your host university and host research group in order to check if it's possible to apply for more funding at national or European level.
I will answer another question concerning the application procedure on the platform. A candidate has highlighted that in the application platform, as it is no longer possible to fill in the pre-application, the form is not ticked in green. but it rests gray, it is not clickable. This will not represent a problem at the moment of the submission. So you will be able to conclude your application and to submit it without the pre-application, as the form is not mandatory. I will answer a question on the support letters. A candidate asks if they manage to obtain 2 letters of support from 2 different universities and they want to upload both. If they need to be listed, the 2 universities need to be listed both as host university, or if they can be one host and one for the co-host. The answer is that a support letter needs to be issued by one host university. So you can, of course, upload 2 support letters, but they need to be from 2 main host universities. A co-host university is not required to issue any support letter.
So concerning external experts, can you please explain who they should be? Can the professor from the previous university, which I had, no collaboration? You may not have any contact, previous contact with them, professional contact. So of course, the best way is to find external expert suggestions, if you want, in your list of publication, not your own publication, but the publication you're working on. I guess that this is all right.
I will answer a question about the weighting of the selection criteria. About this, I will redirect you to the guide for applicants, where you can find a table with all the weighting scores and for the selection criteria, both for the international peer review stage and for the interview stage.
Concerning the external secondary plan, you don't have to choose them at this moment. You can explain something in your application if you already have an idea. But of course, if you are selected, you may change it after that. There is no problem, because it will depend on how the project will be undertaken. So you don't need really to have a fixed choice on the external secondment. So concerning the date of starting, the next fellowship position are 1st September. So you will have to quit your actual position if you want to apply. So concerning the contact with the research group, of course, you can already create your application, start to write, to fill all the steps. But of course, you will need a support letter, so you may have to change a little bit your project. So the sooner you can contact, you can have a contact, is the best, of course. But you can already start, of course.
I will answer another question on external experts. It is not necessary that you inform them that you put someone in the list of recommended external experts, since it is only a suggestion and it is not given that we will contact those people to evaluate your research project, although it is probable, but it is not necessary. And concerning another question, on the review stage, a candidate asks further information or on what is exactly the application assessment by the prospective host department. This is part of the review stage as the relevance feedback. So hosting options indicated by the applicant will be contacted and the research project will be submitted to them. In this case, the hosting options will assess the fit of the research project to their research interests. So if the project is feasible to be hosted within their facilities and the research group or not. So it will not be an evaluation on the quality of the project, but only an evaluation of the feasibility of the research project in that hosting option.
So concerning the number of applications we received last year, it was 280.
Yes, 279, 280.
Yes, 79. So it's yes, it's a lot. And this year, I guess this will be also a lot. So you may be very numerous in this call.
As per another question asking precisions on what we expect in the section explaining the integration of the project in the Utopia Alliance, what we can say is that you need to bear in mind that your research project includes a mandatory secondment to a co-host institution within the EUTOPIA-SIF partner universities. So you will need to explain the role of your research project and how this will contribute to the integration and to the cooperation of universities and to research cooperation within the Utopia Alliance.
So concerning the limit of seniority, no, there is no limit of seniority, neither in age, neither in how many postdoctoral fellowship you already had. So this is not an ineligibility question.
As per a question regarding the point 4 in the research proposal, the section hosting on the project, how specific do we need to be when explaining this? And do we need to mention all the possible hosts and co-hosts we have identified? Or should we focus on the preferred host-co-host combination? Bear in mind that the hosting section, as well as all of your research proposal, will be evaluated by external evaluators, and in case you are shortlisted for an interview, also by members of the interview panel. So your hosting options need to be coherent with your research proposal and well integrated. Then the level of detail concerning hosting options and specific research groups and supervisors depends on you and the way you decide to design your proposal. But bear in mind that it needs to be coherent with your research project and well established.
Concerning the early career researcher and the published paper or the submission or the paper who are just under submission, yes, if you cannot find 5 publications to put in the application, you can also put the potential publication and just indicate that they are under submission. No problem for that. Of course, we can understand that when you just have your PhD, you cannot have a list of publications as long as a very experienced researcher. In the CV template, the difference between professional experience and teaching experience, it's just to highlight when you've got some teaching experience at university. You may also have some other experiences in other than academics. So this is also very important, but this is only to put to make the difference. But it is not something that may influence anything on your application. It's just to be sure that you can make the difference in that. Concerning the career breaks, of course, we take that into consideration. You just have to explain when there is a career break. Of course, you may have very good reasons for that, and it's your own life. But we just ask you to explain when there is a hole somewhere in your CV. So just indicate it without any further long explanation, but you may explain that.
I'll answer a question concerning the fit of the research to the disciplines and keywords that are present on the application platform. So the question says, for the topics outlined, there are keywords to Barras added. What if my research does not fit the keywords listed? Should I still apply in this area, or does it not make sense to apply at all? But taking into account the fact that the EUTOPIA-SIF program is an interdisciplinary program that intends to cover a whole broad range of scientific disciplines, I believe that it will be possible to find a discipline fitting your research project. Would you need an advice on that? I suggest you also to contact a local program manager so it can advise you to contact a research group that can be fit to your research, and this could be beneficial for your application, so that you can find a better fitting for your research project, and then also manage to understand how to define it properly for the application. So what is important is that there is a fitting with a research group, then you can find the appropriate way to describe it in order to upload on the application platform. This should not be a limitation for any discipline at all.
Even if Francesca is trying to answer directly to a person, I guess this is important. Yes, you, if you are selected, you will be a Marie Curie Fellow. This is very important. It's a co-fund. It's not the same call as direct individual fellowship, but you will be Marie Curie Fellow, and you will be invited to join the community of the research fellow of Marie Curie. So yes. Concerning the CV template also, yes, when there is a section that doesn't apply to your personal academic professional trajectory, you can erase it. You just have to keep the same, the hierarchy of the sections. So of course, if it's empty, you can erase it.
Concerning the research proposal, candidate asks whether a budget should be provided in the template, especially making reference to the point planned use of the research and travel budget. The answer is, when it is relevant, you can provide a budget for your research proposal. So the point asking for the planned use of the research and travel budget, if you plan to use the research and travel budget available to you, which I remind you, you can find highlighted in the guide for applicants. If you already have a plan on using this budget, you may, of course, include it in your research proposal.
So concerning the resource person in the host university related, it's the local program manager that you can contact. The list is in the guide for applicants. So please, when you've got very specific question regarding your own situation, send us an email at coordination or at the local program manager. So I guess this is all.
I see there is a last question concerning the hosting of the project. As I mentioned that the hosting needs to be coherent with the research project. I will explain myself further. What I mean by coherent means that the hosting option needs to be fit with the research project, meaning that it needs to be a research group that is aligned with the research that you wish to undertake, that has the facilities, that has the supervisors and the supervision that you need in order to carry on your research project. So this is an example of coherence. Then, of course, it is up to you, and it depends on the way you design your research proposal, how this fits between your research project and your hosting option is highlighted and underlined. But bear in mind that this is part of the evaluation, so you need to elaborate on your hosting option choice and why you decided to apply for a specific hosting option. I hope it is now more clear.
Okay, I think that we answered all your questions. We wish you good luck for your application, and remember the deadlines on 10th of January, and remember also that during the break, the next break for Christmas break, we will not answer any question at the coordination team, but we will answer them just after the end of the holidays. Thank you very much.
Thank you.